Hey guys, and welcome to some analysis of the Star Citizen Alpha 3.0 demo. I just wanted to go through the video and talk about what I thought was important and elaborate on what I think certain features and gameplay will hold. Let's listen to this guy quick.
Hey, how are you? Miles Eckhart. Friend over at Crusader said you've been building quite a rep. I run a modest security outfit, and I'm always on the lookout for capable people who don't rattle. If you're interested in picking up some extra work, we should talk. I'll send my details.
So, other than highlighting the aspects of NPCs talking and that sort of stuff, we'll also be adding some of the info that Chris Roberts and others have imparted over the Gamescom weekend in interviews and on stream. And I'll be speeding up boring bits or bits that I find are more irrelevant or just filler, and I'll crank up the volume on NPCs talking, as we just saw. So, what we just saw there was Miles Eckhart giving us a mission. This is basically the crux of this entire gameplay demo. It's a mission quest, and it shows off some of the 3.0 stuff that we can expect. So this particular mission, is it going to be all missions going to be like this? Well, probably not. It's a high quality mission from the point of view of audio and visual interaction with the quest giver, with quite good facial kind of tech going on here. I would expect a huge range of missions in the verse, some of which will just be text and audio, some just text, I suppose, some just audio, some with a little bit of NPC video interaction, and then that would scale up to basically what we saw and a little bit beyond. A lot of people have described this as like a roller coaster or a theme park ride mission, and you have these in games. You have the high tier missions mixed in with your other missions and things that you'll be doing that have different tiers of interactivity and different tiers of how much audio and how much video is in them. I expect we're going to get giant mix emissions, and we're going to see huge diversity in exactly how breathtaking they are. This one, pretty breathtaking, but you're going to get some more simple ones there as well, where the actual gameplay of the mission is going to be more important than the interaction with the NPC and seeing those videos. Missions are going to be dynamically driven and generated based on what's going on in the verse, and missions are also going to be somewhat modular too. So expect a large range of missions, but a mission like this in the full game might only be available, for example, when pirates are rampant in an area. And it's pretty cool because the first implementation of this mission system will be coming in 3.0. Now we're travelling to Levski to meet the mission giver to basically get given the full mission. The HUDs on the Freelancer, the ship they're using, have been vastly improved. It's much more visible, there's a lot more options here, but there's also a star map, and this star map's going to be integral for telling NPC pilots where you want them to go and that sort of stuff, but also allows you to simply plot courses. They're able to double click here and travel towards the Levski landing zone. So we travel above the planet and we see a station and then a gate. That gate, I assume, would scan your cargo, prepare you towards the landing zone. Remember, you can land anywhere on these planets if you wanted. Maybe not on the really, really built-up planets. And the idea is that you'd fly through the gate, I think, and then it would give you the option of auto-landing on a landing zone that's directly in front of you on the planet, or at least guide you towards the landing zone, because obviously planets are quite big. We're then able to see seamlessly transitioning from orbit to atmosphere. As they go into the atmosphere of the planet, the atmospheric head comes in. You can see the heat there. Very simple effect at the moment. It's going to get a lot better, I assume. The altitude and max safe speed appear on the HUD as well. Atmospheric flight is affecting their ship. We can see mountains and a real horizon. This horizon is literally going to be based on it's not going to be blocked artificially, and if clouds and stuff are that in the way, that's how far you can see. You can see as far as you can see. This planet is supposed to be a pretty barren rock, but procedural generation and rendering on demand allows them to create huge areas easily and then have them rendered with an efficient amount of resources. That's the idea anyway. What we're seeing here as well isn't the finished product for us. Not even for the Alpha 3.0. They plan to have an improved version of the whole planet and atmosphere system by then. Although the surface and most of the planet's geometry will be procedurally created as well, Chris Roberts has stated that they have tools and are building more tools to allow a huge amount of artist-driven content on these planets too, that isn't just hero and landing and specific areas. So They want to have tools to allow them to create forests, oceans, change flora and fauna in an area with a great degree of accuracy if they want to. The thing to remember with CIG's approach to planets and the systems is that they want you to kind of want you to spend hundreds of hours in a system without getting bored, and will pack planets and space full of interesting things to do. Rather than going for a multitude of worlds, like billions of worlds, they want a small universe, but very densely packed with stuff. And now, planetary landings, they show us that they can land anywhere on the planet. It is pretty basic at the moment, but it shows that you have free reign to land where you want in most cases on planets, and looks pretty good even though it's super simple. The ship lands very rigidly. Hopefully in the future their sink and landings will have a little bit more weight to them based on the ship, and the exit ramps and landing gear will actually touch the ground properly. But they want to go to the Levski landing zone. You'll request a landing. There's a little video here that pops up of you interacting with the control tower NPC guy. I'd assume that you could have a fair variety of pre-recorded messages like this, so it looks different every time you request a landing.
Esmond Macken is the character here.
Wendy, pad a sign.
I assume these videos are pre-recorded and not generated by a camera in the CryEngine on demand, literally capturing what the NPC is doing at the time. I assume they're all pre-recorded. That would be the simplest way of doing it, but please tell me I'm wrong, because that would be awesome if I am. The Levski landing zone opens up, and then you'd be able to land in it. The whole landing process and the Levski landing zone looks amazing. We are likely seeing a quickly surface polished version of Levski. Maybe the back areas aren't textured or lit properly, for example. But what we do see is impressive enough to make Bioshock even blush. It does have that Rapture vibe as well, very, very much so. And this does seem to be a huge hero landing zone, rich in life history and lore. But the next thing that we want to talk about really is the elevator. Here the elevator uses the Inner Thought system, which is the new system that replaces the use F button that we've had before in Star Citizen. Basically, you'll go up to something, you'll use mouse wheel to select what option you want from a contextual menu, the same as he did when he was talking to the NPCs accepting missions, that sort of stuff. The elevators here are real and part of Item System 2.0. They don't teleport you around. They move in an actual physical space. As we can see by the pilot outside, it's a single instance. You aren't being tricked or moved around or instanced in the same way that you would be in other games. This sort of detail is going to be very, very interesting, not just because it's a real physicalized space, but it's going to be interesting for covert ops, bounty hunting, tracking players. There's going to be so much emergent gameplay because there's a real distance to cover. You can estimate where players are going to be. Players aren't going to be teleported all over the place. I think that is fantastic. And as I said earlier, we'll then kind of, in this video, we see more of the richness of the environment at Levski. The NPCs here are super basic at the moment. They do interact with you to, like, say hello as you go past. But with 3.0, the actual release that we get into our hands, they're going to receive a bit more of a boost to their interaction and their animation and kind of their mannerisms, helping immerse you in the world around you. They will go about their work, and there will be day and night cycles that will affect them. There are various other little animations as well to make it all more believable. There was one NPC, though, that was extremely good looking, not just because he was a bald man like me, but because he was the original mission giver, and he does a lot more than just fakely interact with you as you pass by.
Glad you could make it. Grab a seat. Sorry for the locale. Don't look like much, but the homemade stuff has some kick. Anyway, a job came in late last night. Some idiot hauler cut through low-sec space, got his crew vented. Company needs to retrieve the ship's black box to claim insurance on the lost cargo. Should be a romper job. Get in, get out. All my people are tied up with bigger ops. So I figured I could use this as a chance to make a new friend. I'll send the details.
He looks really cool.
Know if
this is the result of the motion capture work that CIG have been doing over the last couple of years. It feels like he's directly interacting with you. That's really quite awesome. He isn't repeating the same action over and over again in the background either. He's drinking, he's looking around, he's fidgety. It's all quite believable, and the uncanny valley vibe is also avoided too. As I said earlier, this mission though, this kind of type of mission where you get to see this kind of NPC, is probably a theme park mission with really high asset quality that will be thrown in with other missions to give them more variety and also give you that occasional wow factor when you've got a mission. And CIG have a tier rating given to the facial tech of their NPCs as well, where tier 0, is reserved for like Mark Hamill and Admiral Bishop's character. This is more likely to be like a tier 1, probably a tier 2, seeing here, I think, but don't quote me on that, that's what I assume with my gut. Also, nice little mission touch, you get to see the actual mission details before accepting in text exactly what you're going to do. But let's actually move on to the actual mission now. I've frothed enough about that cool looking NPC.
Here's the tracking address for the ship. Let me know once you have the black box data.
A quest for the black box data. So they obviously disengage the NPC, they go back into their ship, they fly up from the planet, which looks awesome, going back into orbit from a planet's surface, and then they are able to track the mission and jump straight to the waypoint of where that starfarer is. A couple of pirates are still there, and they show off their much smoother turret combat here. Once they're dispatched, they get to see the wrecked starfarer much more close and EVA out. So I'm not sure if something like this would be a viable salvage target or not. We'll have to wait until see the actual salvage mechanic when it's actually in game. This is like a static wreck, so I'm not sure if mission wrecks are going to be salvageable, basically in the same way that you'd be able to nom up other ships. So this is a static wreck. I'm not entirely sure how wrecks are going to work in the game. I would assume that there'll be a selection of procedural prefabs that spawn in a fashion to make each wreck look different. So this Starfarer wreck needs 2 engines, a cockpit, and a mission area to spawn. Spawn them in, bam. However, it does look great. I was personally a massive fan of the engine at the back powering on and off. That looks awesome, but not so much of a fan of the cream underskeleton being exposed. Those colours clashed for me, but that's just my own personal gripe. Again, the ship looks amazing when they go into it, and there's a couple of player pirates in there. No NPCs inside the ship. A lot of the stuff for the NPC stuff at the moment is not there, so they're having to use player characters. We saw those pirate ships outside, they were actually NPCs, but there was actual players inside the ship. And the FPS combat is okay, but a bit clunky and spongy. This, however, should be seeing an overhaul of some kind in 2.6, which we should have into our hands before 3.0 goes live. There is also dead bodies that are a bit frozen. Now, there's a bit of debate on how people want these meat popsicles to be handled. Some people want them to be rigid, other with some limb movements when you push them. At the moment, they seem less ragdolly than normal corpses, but that could just be they're in zero gravity. Whatever, dead bodies exist. People want to be able to loot them, that sort of crazy stuff. We haven't seen that yet, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how they implement dead bodies and looting, and are these real people in the verse, effectively? Do these NPCs have names? Player navigates the captain's quarters and retrieves and uploads the data, the black box data, and then gets given his payment, but also gets given a secondary mission.
Got the black box data and verified it. I'll send it off. Great job. You know, I'm just gonna throw this out, but I ended up talking to a couple of contacts of mine. Turns out the pack that hit that ship are squatting in an old facility on that nearby moon. I'm just talking here, but it's not crazy to think that they're keeping the cargo there. These outlaws are scum, so it's not like anyone will miss them. That company's gonna claim the insurance, so it wouldn't technically be stealing if you happen to head on down and take it. Again, I'm not saying anything here. I'm just gonna send along a location on that moon and do what you want.
Mission 2, reclaim the cargo. The player continues to look through the ship after receiving that mission. He finds a dragonfly in a crate. I wish I could find dragonflies. just anywhere in the verse to add to my account. Apparently the crate was a last minute addition. It was just a dragonfly in the hold before, and they put this crate in and it looks super cool the way it folds out. I hope this is the way they do a lot of the procedural cargo and stuff like that might be found on missions. It's the cool limited edition yellow dragonfly in a crate, and it's clearly flight ready here. This is awesome. It can also fit in a freelancer. They drive it into a freelancer. So there's also a physics grid bug that they're trying to fix. Basically, when you take a ship from one local physics grid to the main server physics grid back into a different ship's physics grid, it can disappear from other people's points of view. So obviously that's something they need to get fixed. Basically, they then fly that dragonfly onto the moon's surface that's nearby, and we can see the beautiful moon. We can see craters in the background. That looks absolutely awesome, what is going on the surface over there. I know we've only seen just basically rocky, moon-esque planets, but it is looking very impressive. But it goes into grav mode, this dragonfly, and hovers on the surface of the planet as a ground vehicle. And this is where we move into ground combat as they assault the pirate base. The player on his dragonfly fights a Urza rover and a enemy black dragonfly with the assistance from his freelancer friend. This is a combined arms fight, which I didn't think we were going to see at all. It shows it all working in its quite simplest form, but it still looks pretty damn fun. The Urza rover here as well was a giant surprise to me. It's a big six-wheeled, six-person NPC, and in 3.0 we're going to have ground combat on a scale I just didn't think we were going to have. Star Citizen isn't just about spaceships. I am looking forward to exactly what we're going to get with 3.0 when it comes to ground combat, but I assume we'll also have the Grey Cat in there. Not so much a combat vehicle, but maybe the person next to you will be able to fire out of it. And I suspect we're going to get much, much more in the way of FPS weapons with Star Marine 2.6 drop, and in 3.0 just in general more armament. And remember, someone can shoot from the back of that dragonfly, so hopefully that will be there in 3.0 too. So, again, they're not fighting actual NPCs. They haven't finished the NPCs and AI subsumption yet. That's one of the major things they're working on. These are players, but in 3.0, hopefully that would be NPCs we'll be fighting, and obviously in missions, we need those NPCs. There is a great gameplay moment here, though. The main player here is out of ammo entirely, and there's one pirate left who he hasn't killed, who would basically have to run away if they couldn't kill him in any other way. But fortunately, there is a great save from the guy that's flying the freelancer called Chris, who shoots the guy in the best possible camera angle ever to see his corpse sliding across the other player's screen after he's been asked to kill him. It's a fantastic gameplay moment where you can see that they haven't scripted that sort of thing going wrong. They can't spawn in something else. They had to improvise, and that improvisation shows off that combined arms in this game is a big thing. The ship to vehicle to ground combat all blends in with each other. And after dispatching that last pirate, they've cleared the base. They then pick up some of the delicious, delightful loot, and they get their final video message.
So, find anything good? If you don't mind, I'll just have a look myself.
That doesn't sound very good.
And that's it for the 3.0 demo. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I was incredibly impressed with that. Please check out it in its full glory again. I'll put a link in the description for the full thing. I did just speed up any points that were slightly more boring, although the whole thing was amazing. Anyway, guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more Star Citizen content, and you can win a dragonfly just by commenting on any of our Star Citizen videos during the month of August. You take care, guys, and I'll see you in the verse.